No, but I was really worried that this movie was too good because I made the disclaimer last week. It was the next movie in queue after, what did we watch last week? I've already forgotten.
Yes.
The Elevator, that's right.
Yes, Elevator, and they realize Hitler's in there with them. It was a
Oh
good
my
movie.
God.
It was a great movie.
We've just started, and are we recording?
It's SETI Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. The show where we create revenge sequels that nobody wanted. This time, it's kind of personal.
It's SETI Bimco Part 2, The Revenge.
The Revenge
The
is
show
Tim
where we
dictating on us.
create revenge sequels to movies that never happened.
Oh, wait, that's what we're supposed to be doing?
Yep.
I'm unprepared.
And let me get this
Sorry, you'll come up with something off
business
the top
out of the
your
way
head.
first. I'm going to pick the wild card question. It's a question
All right.
we pick on the show, which is, the question is, who from this movie, if there was a sequel made, would be most likely to do something? And today
What are they going to do?
It's number 3.
Number 3, most likely to star in their own reality show.
Likely to star in their own
All right.
reality show.
At the end of this movie, off the top of our heads, we'll do that.
Wow.
Question. As pertaining to someone in this movie. There.
Okay.
All the
right.
business. Now let the magic start. Let loose.
The magic.
What happened to John this week? He wanted to tell us
Let's hear
something.
it, John.
I can
What
tell.
happened?
Look in his eyes.
The glint. The manic glint.
Well, I mean, you know, when your parents get to be a certain age, and my mother is going to be a certain age this year, how can I put this delicately? They get upset over, and I don't know if this was a little thing, but like my mother will get upset. Like now that my mother's retired, there's that one day of the week where there's a substitute mail carrier. And I was out there one day and the mailman usually comes at like about 12:30. Oh, it was getting on 4:00 and the mail still wasn't there. And she's like, I can't believe this. I know it's the day of the substitute and he's still not here. And it was like about 5:00. And she's like, thank God the mail's finally here. So I go out and I get the mail for her. And it's like a mailer from St. Jude's Children's Hospital asking for money. So I just put it on the table when I came into the house. I said, sorry, you had to wait till 5:00 for this. But that's not what happened. So, of course, this weekend, as everybody knows, if anybody who does listen to SETI Bimco 2 The Revenge realizes we do record these episodes weeks in advance. And this week was Valentine's Day. And I don't know about you all down in the big city, but we had an extremely warm week this week. Yesterday, it got up to 69 degrees in Syracuse. It was pretty. I wasn't even thinking about it.
It's not funny now.
68 degrees. That's I gotta watch
It was 66.6 degrees there.
That's good too, because of Satan. Tim, you still got it.
Degrees.
Hitler died when he was 66. I don't know.
Oh my God.
So
All right, I'm
anyways-
leaving the show.
Sorry, John.
So it was Valentine's Day. My mother wanted to go up to my stepfather's grave. Yeah, you know. And so we get up there, and 2 graves down from my stepfather is buried. He was from Auburn. He was born and raised here. 2-time Tony Award winning choreographer Tommy Walsh.
Okay.
Now, Tommy Walsh, he won 2 Tony Awards for choreography in the 80s. He got nominated for director in a musical in the 80s. He was the original Bobby in A Chorus Line.
Okay. I like that show.
And my favorite line in The Chorus Line is a line delivered by Bobby. And the line goes, I thought about killing myself, but then I realized that committing suicide in Buffalo would be redundant. That's like my favorite line in the whole. That's my favorite line in the whole. So anyway, Tommy is buried 2 graves down from my stepfather, and where my mother will be buried one day. Well, his sister, with metallic red spray painted these hearts on his stone. and the wind blew spray paint and it splattered on my stepfather's grave.
Oh.
And my mother is like livid.
Wait, did you see this happen?
So no, this was.
Oh, it was just.
This,
okay,
I don't know when she
there.
had done it, but it was there. It was there when we got there. So my mother had a bucket in the back of the car, and she had me, and she had a cloth, and I said, maybe we could get some steel. Oh no, we can't get any steel wool. We will scratch the tombstone. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. So that day and the last 2 days, I have gone up to my stepfather's stone with a cloth and a bucket, and there's like an outdoor spigot with freezing cold water and a little bit of soap, and I have slowly but surely, and it's kind of starting to wear off. Basically what's going to happen is the rain, the snow, whatever, eventually it's just going to wear off.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing the last 3 days for about an hour and a half to 2 hours each day, is trying to get this red metallic.
Don't you have any like paint remover? Or?
That might do something to the stone, Tim. We can't do these things.
You do it.
My mother won't let me spread salt on her sidewalk because she's afraid it's going to pock the concrete. There'll be little pock marks in it. I'm like, oh, so you'd rather that it's just a sheet of ice and you slip on it and break a hip? But heaven forbid the sidewalk doesn't get pocked. So we reached a compromise, and I found this non-salt ice melter. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing for about an hour and a half to 2 hours the last 3 days, trying to be a good son, because if I don't do it, my mother will go up there.
I have a question.
Of course you have a question, George. What's the question?
Given that we're a revenge-themed podcast and your family has been wronged by Tom Walsh's sister, how are you intending to take revenge on her and or her brother's grave?
I was thinking of defecating on it.
I'm like, you got a bucket already, you know?
Oh, jeez.
I got a bucket already. I don't need a bucket. I'll just, there
like,
you go.
You're your own delivery system.
I mean, I'm trying to come up with something a little more subtle, George, but I think just basically I'm just going to.
I got it.
I'm going to take a shit on
John, I got it.
I'm going to take a shit on his grave.
John, I got it.
Wait, who are you going to trust, Tim or me?
No, I got it, John.
Oh, God.
Let me give you my idea. You find out when his sister visits his grave, and you make sure you're there at the same time at your grave, and you're just mumbling on your breath songs from Chorus Line. You're like, tits and ass. You don't ever look at her. You don't ever associate with her. But every time you're there and she's there, you're singing those songs. Okay.
So I think now I've come up with what I'm going to do. I am going to wait there.
Yep.
Till she comes. I will have the bucket of soapy water that I've been scrubbing the grave with, and when she shows up, I'm just going to douse her with it.
I like it.
Oh,
can I end your first idea though? I think
sure. Go ahead.
I think defecation is strong. I think defecation sends the meaning, but I think it needs to be more.
It makes a statement.
It makes a statement, but it needs to be a pointed statement. I think you need to commit to eating metallic red confetti.
Jeez.
And when it's ready to pass through your system, that's when you bring the pain to her grave. So she comes there and she's like, oh, something shat on my brother's grave, and why it's full of red metallic confetti.
Oh, jeez.
Is that too dark? That's probably too dark. Let's cut all this out.
No, it's just that last week we talked about...
And while I'm getting surgery for colon cancer, I'll be like, but it was worth it.
That's what you get.
When they're fitting me for the colostomy bag, I'll be like, it was worth it.
There's also that.
Well, I thought mine was nice and subtle, John.
Well, yeah. I don't know if I want subtle, though, Tim.
I don't think there's anything
Maybe
subtle.
I just don't want...
All right.
Well, I have a question.
You just wait till your mom gets older. They start getting fussy about, like, when my mom was older and I had to bring her a glass of water, I had to often bring her a new glass of water because the old glass of water had dust on it.
Oh.
Well, Tim, he's got to start dusting that water off.
I was always getting a new glass of the water.
Here you go, my old stagnant water from the backyard ditch. Hope you enjoy it.
Dusty water. I never heard of such a thing, but oh well.
I think they're a recording artist.
Yes. Dusty waters.
Well, nothing happened to me this week, so nothing at all.
Good.
Yeah.
We don't have time.
We don't have time after. Nothing to match that. That's like it's kind of a.
I annoyed George on texting because he made a typo, and I wondered what it was all day.
And
because I can't stop myself from getting fixated on things.
We have a group text that goes with a couple of our friends, and Tim is the villain of it. It's just you're absolutely the bad guy in that thread. That's why sometimes Fife won't respond for weeks because he can't take it anymore.
Don't name names. No one wants to know.
You bleep that out.
John, did you see the new Flash trailer? There's
yes,
a new movie.
I did.
Did you notice there's 2 Batmans? I thought you'd be excited.
I'm very excited.
You're always excited for a new Batman movie. And this is not a Batman movie, but Batman is in it.
Okay. I can't wait.
Did you like it, John? George?
I did.
Either of you? You're going to go see?
He's doing it again.
I don't know what he's doing. Yeah, who's he talking
John.
to?
No.
Because he goes, how about you, John? I mean, George, I mean, either of you.
Any people whose names are the jaw sound?
He tried to recover, but
Tim, who are you talking to?
No. Both of you. I was wondering who wants to see the Flash the most.
I don't want to see the Flash. So here's the thing. I like Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton Batman's the only Batman we're seeing. But I don't think I want to go see a movie that stars that guy's pretty much a sex trafficker, right?
I know. He got in a lot of trouble. It's unfortunate.
What's his name? Ezra Pound?
Ezra Miller.
He wrote some poems that got in some trouble.
Ezra Pound Ezra Pound was the poet, yes. Ezra Miller, yes.
Ezra Pound was the poet who was very pro-fascist, liked Hitler. He was writing poems.
Oh my God, Tim.
Okay, continue with your story.
Fucking moratorium on invoking Hitler. Good Lord.
I'm sorry, John. Go ahead. I stopped you. Oh, you wanted to know who's in trouble. Is it
Ezra Miller?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was being sought by the police. He took off with underage people and all sorts of stuff went on.
Threw a chair at a lady.
I think he might need to be medicated.
Yeah. Anyway. And we're authorities on this.
We know.
We are authorities. I took psychology 101 in community college. I know everything about this.
I took it in high school, John.
Know what I am going to see?
So did I.
I watched that movie where Bill.
Was that psychology or sociology? Because one semester it was psychology, and the second semester it was sociology.
It was Psych 101.
Was it Psych? Okay.
Who was in Bill, John?
Mickey Rooney.
Mickey Rooney.
And Hitler.
Oh, no! It's spread.
Should we talk about this movie? Because it's very short.
Yep.
It is very short, and that's part of the reason why I picked it. As I said, it was queued up after the elevator. It said an hour and 9 minutes. I was like, what the hell? Because as much as I enjoy doing the podcast, some weeks I'm just like, I have no clue what I want to watch.
Yeah.
So I just nipped it in the bud. I was like, you know what? There you go. That looks good. Bing Crosby and a beard.
I have a question.
What's the synopsis, John?
When a movie's hour and 9 minutes, how long was that on broadcast TV? Was that like an hour and a half?
I'm guessing it was probably like an hour. Yeah, an hour and a half would be my guess.
Okay.
It was like an hour of Minute Maid commercials, if you know anything about Bing Crosby.
I don't get it.
He was the spokesman for Minute Maid, and he owned stock.
Yep, and he beat his kids.
I learned that.
Allegedly.
I learned that from Tim's email about this because Tim condescendingly told me who Bing Crosby was. Which actually, no clue. It's probably better because I was mixing him up with Gene Kelly. So.
Yeah. And when I was a little kid, I remember the day that I came home and they broke into the TV and like Bing Crosby died. And I remember that I was young and I was confusing my celebrities. And I thought they meant Bill Cosby had died.
Bill Cosby.
Like, Bill Cosby died? But then the news said he died at a golf course. And I'm like, wait a minute. Black people aren't allowed to die on golf courses.
Unless they're the caddy.
Must be Bing Crosby.
Tim's getting controversial.
Well, this was the 70s. And that's
you had that level of awareness about the social injustices of our country in these early 70s that you knew black people weren't allowed on golf courses. I don't even think I knew what golf courses were until I was 40.
That's good.
I knew what putt-putt golf was.
Oh, that's true. I knew miniature golf.
So this movie, it is a television movie, an ABC movie of the week from 1971, based on a play by Ira Levin, who wrote the novel Rosemary's Baby, the novel.
I didn't know that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, he wrote.
Okay.
He wrote the novel, the Rosemary's Baby. He wrote the novel of the Stepford Wives, and his most successful play was called Death Trap.
Yes,
and that got made into a movie with Christopher Reeve and Michael Caine in about 1980.
I just saw that.
Fun fact: the first theater role I ever got when I moved to Raleigh, there were basically two main characters in it. I can't remember their names now. Sidney was the older man, and Clifford was the younger man. And the very first theatrical production I got cast in Raleigh, I played Clifford in Death Trap. And coincidentally, the very last production I ever did in Raleigh 23 years later was also Death Trap, and I played Sidney. So I went full circle there.
Oh,
nice.
Full circle.
I bookended unintentionally. Because I very rarely get the lead roles. I don't want the lead roles. I want like the supporting role. I want to like deliver my 12 lines. I want the audience like just to wait for me to get back on the stage. And then I just deliver that one line and then I go off again. I love those parts.
That's like me. I had in the grade school play, I played a police officer that arrested Santa Claus.
Of course.
Why didn't we hear this story in the first City Bimco?
The cop turned the other way when Hitler was going down the street. But boy, when Santa Claus showed up,
I had to arrest Santa Claus because Santa Claus was obviously a woman. Can you believe that? Back then, at school play, they let a girl play Santa Claus.
Is that why you arrested Santa Claus? You fucking fascist.
Yeah, that's what I arrested him.
Fucking worst. I'm still reeling from the Ira Levin news that the same guy wrote Rosemary's Baby, Stepford Wives, and now this, which totally fits that. That's amazing. Kind of had one story in his system, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
But he told it very well.
Yeah, that's the thing. I liked this. Spoilers, people. I liked this movie.
It.
I know, I ruined it. Now people are going to turn it off. They're like, well, we know what George liked.
I'm making funny jokes. I don't care.
I'm still gonna make fun of this. I got all kinds.
I joke about Schindler's List. I don't care.
Oh no.
But anyway,
this podcast.
Jimmy Tennyson. He was in Time Bandits, by the way. Who's Jimmy?
Yes.
So I'll give
the synopsis real quick. Says James Tennyson is a young and idealistic physician who returns to his hometown of Greenfield, which is in Vermont, to work with Dr. Leonard Cooke, his mentor, who is a father figure to him. Tennyson's father was an abusive brute who broke his arm in a drunken rage. Dr. Cooke seems to be a positive role model to Tennyson and a pillar of the community who welcomes his young protege home. Yes. And that's basically it. That's basically the setup too, because they basically give the whole plot here. But we don't want to do.
But Jimmy's the young guy who looked up to Bing Crosby, Dr. Cooke.
Is that
Dr. Cooke?
That's Tennyson. Who was he in Time Bandits?
Oh, you're gonna make me look that up?
Yeah, man, because I watched Time Bandits like a dozen times, and I never. That guy was a thick lump of wood. I'm like, who is this fucking wooden-leaded man?
He was man number 3, and there were only 2. And there were only 2 men in the. Oh, he was Dim.
Dim.
Who the fuck is Dim? I thought they were all dwarves. Tim, this is your fault. You derailed this. Fucking.
I have a feeling George Harrison had a bigger part in Time Bandits than this guy did, because I don't recall him. But anyway.
Yeah. Wait. And who was?
I did see. Huh?
George Harrison was in Time Bandits.
Oh yeah.
He was the producer. He produced it. Handmade films.
He paid for it.
He was real tight with those. He was real tight with the pythons.
I know he was a python guy.
And what they did was he was on the pirate ship. He was one of the pirates on the ship.
Wow.
And literally, the camera hits him for literally 2 seconds, and that's it.
He's in Life of Brian.
I know that. He's like a reporter guy or something, though. I've seen that one.
He's also in Schindler's List, I think.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. He plays the girl in the red coat.
He did.
All right.
He did.
Okay.
So Cosby, by the way, Bill
Crosby.
I wanted to talk about Bill Cosby. Okay, we'll talk
well,
about
Bill Cosby.
Bing Crosby. He was one of the most wealthy entertainers that ever existed.
The Jell-O pudding pop. No, anyway. I've never looked at a Jell-O pudding pop the same since. But anyway. But we're talking about Bing Crosby.
Bing Crosby didn't sing once in this entire movie. I thought
he did not.
He was pretty good.
I thought he would have at least hummed.
Yeah, not even hummed. Didn't dance. I don't know if Bing Crosby danced. That would have been.
Didn't he used to always do like boo 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 boo? Yep. Didn't he always used to kind of like scat like that in his recordings? I was like, not even that.
He said scat.
In the Looney Tunes cartoon, he does that.
Yeah, exactly.
He owned a 40-room house. I mean, he only had like 5 kids. What do you do with a 40-room house?
We'll find out.
He had Danny Kaye tied up in one of them.
He had slaves.
Just Danny Kaye. He tied Danny Kaye up and put him in the Bob Hope room just to torture him.
These references are just shooting over my head. I mean, I know who Danny Kaye is. He's come up before, but is there actually a connection? Is this Tim's weird way of just bringing up shit all the time? Who knows?
Danny Kaye and Crosby were in White Christmas, a very popular movie.
All right.
That Gene and I watch every year, not even because I love Bing Crosby.
Miss Lee, the producer.
We watch it every year, and it's I told John we know all the bloopers that are in it, things like that. I do like the songs and the dances they do in it. It's just a movie like, we got to put on a show and help our friend.
Right.
That's it.
Does Bing Crosby
first
dance?
Of all,
does Bing Crosby dance?
In that movie, yeah.
He danced.
He was like a dance guy. I wasn't sure if he was a dancer or just a boo 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 boo.
I don't know if he wasn't like a dancer on the level of like Fred Astaire or Gene Kelly, but he'd kind of, I think he's what you'd call a hoofer.
A hoofer.
Like he'd kind of do like a little, he and Bob Hope would like do little soft shoe routines in there.
Okay.
But it wasn't like anything really like complicated choreography or anything.
No, I think sometimes they had to CG in his dancing. He wasn't that good.
Tim.
Let's go.
All right. Let's go back to the movie because I want to bring up a credit that confused me. This was a movie. Did you all notice that Blythe Danner was billed as special guest star?
Special guest star.
It's weird.
I did not notice that.
It's like I wrote it down.
So who was he? Is that what we're saying?
Blythe Danner is Gwyneth Paltrow.
Blythe Danner is Gwyneth Paltrow's mother.
In case you're wondering why there was a person in this movie who looked almost exactly like Gwyneth Paltrow, but with like a nicer voice. Turns out that's Blythe Danner. I became an expert on Blythe Danner after watching this film.
Okay.
Yep.
I remember when she used to play Will. Well, I think probably special guest star, I'm going to guess, George. And why not? Because it's in the beginning. We can start with this. I think she had just gotten off of winning a Tony Award on Broadway. And I'm going to guess this was like one of her first forays into film and television. And seeing as she was, established in the New York theater,
she was a fan.
Probably her agent made her, or the agent made them bill her as special guest star.
Okay.
Is normally how these things work, because you really wouldn't know her if you lived outside New York. But if you lived in New York and went to a lot of theater, you would definitely know who she was.
Yeah, I thought,
Blythe.
Oh wait, Tim, go on.
Blythe Danner. I have a little note here. She was in a movie Inside the Third Reich. That's the truth. Tim. That's a movie she was in. You can look it up.
And I did not bring up that R11 also wrote the boys from Brazil, which has a Nazi theme. Yes.
Are you kidding me? The same guy? Every big movie from the 70s this guy did?
It's based on his novels.
Wow.
They're based on his novels.
Okay.
Yeah. But that has a Nazi theme to it, and I didn't want to bring it up because you know who.
Yes.
We get a little too excited. And next thing you know,
I'm not excited.
It's become troubling.
This is a podcast about Hitler.
What do you mean? Next thing you know, it already I don't think there's I think you have now surpassed Maude references. I want to talk about this movie.
We didn't pursue Maude as hard as we pursued Hitler.
So I want to talk about the movie again. So.
So, my big concern, so the doctor's office is in his house, and it's next to a cemetery in the opening sequence. And you're like,
foreshadowing.
I hope this is a funeral home, but no, it's the doctor's office. It's like It's like eating in a restaurant next to a sewage treatment plant. You know, you just kind of have an uneasy feeling about it. It's just what I'm saying.
I went into this so innocently because I saw that special guest star thing, and I figured this is a pilot for a TV show that never went to thing. And the movie opens up with this zoom in into this, pastoral Vermont town through the greenery, and a confused old man waking up in bed to the phone ringing, like, "Huh, what? Speak a little louder." That's our hero, Bing Crosby. And I wrote down my note is like, this is a grim look into my own future when I'm a confused old man who doesn't know what's happening. And it does have the fucking zoom over the cemetery. I'm like, and I thought that was unintentionally and goofy. And I was kind of like watching this film, not picking up on these obvious hints. And the version that we watched was on Tubi, and there is remnants of like commercial breaks that are preserved in this. And the reason I had a hint that anything was up, surprisingly long into this, after the first commercial break, it comes back, and I saw that this was aired on the Sci-Fi channel.
Yes.
And I was like, what?
Right, I noticed that too.
And then I was like, this might be something. So then I started paying attention.
Then I started paying attention. I was like, now you got
Before that, I thought it was going to be like a fucking Dr. Quinn medicine woman or something. Like an old country doctor is like, well, you shouldn't let the pig bite you there. And then he gives him medicine.
Well, I was wondering about that too, why it'd be on Sci-Fi, but I guess like the whole like broad genre of sci-fi horror.
Yeah.
And in a roundabout way, this is like a kind of like a gothic horror almost, I guess. That's the only way I can get my mind wrapped around that. That's just my thought.
And you brought up that movie that we're not going to name because it's going to set Tim off into one of his frenzies again.
Right.
But that movie deals
talking about Goering and Klaus Barbie.
Well, specifically Mengele, because that movie involved cloning, and that's what I thought. I'm like, oh shit, he's going to be cloning people. It's going to be like Body Snatchers sort of thing. People. But it wasn't. Are we going to make this a mystery? Are we just going to tell people what happens?
Well, we can work up to it.
All right.
I have some things to say about it.
Let's hear it, Tim.
No, I mean,
Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, come on, Tim.
As we talk.
Yeah, come on, Tim. Say something.
I was going to say.
Something. Let's move the plot along here. He's still getting out of bed in the opening, and we're we're like half an hour into this already.
I wanted to say that Bing Crosby, he wouldn't give any of his inheritance to his kids till they were 65, which I understand. You don't want him to waste all that money, but 65? Like back then, you didn't live till you died at 60.
That's probably why he did it.
Couldn't he let them have money at 55 at least?
That's probably why he did it. He probably didn't want them. And see, then as long as they're in the will, they can't contest it.
Smart.
Oh, really?
Bing Crosby lived to 74, so he would have had 9 years living high in the hog if he got inheritance at 65. Well, Tim, that was an interesting aside. Did nothing to advance the plot for us. So I'm resting controls.
Nothing to advance the plot, and now we are 28 minutes and 47 seconds into this.
Damn it.
Dr. Cooke has a heart problem at the beginning. I'm like, there's foreshadowing.
I thought he just hurt his back. He's getting into a car. He's like, oh, and then he eats up. I figured it out eventually. Look, guys, I wasn't paying attention at first. It wasn't until I saw this as a sci-fi film, and then I figured there could be werewolves.
A movie about back injuries.
Yeah, I mean. So here's what happens. Okay. He is a small-time actor.
So anyway, Jimmy Tennyson comes back to town on the bus.
Yes, Tens of Tennessee.
From St. Louis, apparently. What a drive that must have been. Unless he took the plane to Boston and just took the bus.
And he is thick as fuck. That character, the Tennessee, the doctor returns. He's the golden boy returning home because the housekeeper of Dr. Cooke is worried after this heart incident. So she says that word to his protege, who is a former patient who he helped put through medical school. And this guy is the densest motherfucker I've ever met. Within 5 minutes of arriving back in town, he meets two women he knew, and they like, hey, Jimmy Tennyson. And he stares at them with blank, vapid expressions. They're like, has it really changed that much in 5 years? This happens twice in rapid succession. He doesn't recognize Blythe Danner. He doesn't recognize Lane in the cemetery. He never says anything, too. He's literally a slack-jawed yokel, just like mouth open, Well,
I think his job was to sit and thoughtfully stare and look handsome, and he pulled that off.
He did have nice hair.
Well, I think he was more like a Sherlock. He figured everything out.
Oh, he didn't. I mean,
except for he was smart. Well, we'll get.
He was dumb. He figured out what was happening in one way, but then he was like, he fell into the most obvious traps. I'm like, really? You didn't see that coming.
I know.
All right, we'll get to that. All right. Did you catch? Wait.
R.
I need to mention the scene about the doctor's garden because it's going to fit in later. So
yeah.
Jimmy gets to the doctor's garden. The doctor has this beautifully manicured garden, and there's a guy out front who is like, did you catch who that actor was? You two?
No,
Barnard Hughes. Yeah,
the fucking grandpa from Lost Boys.
Yeah,
that's the problem with Santa Monica. Too many goddamn vampires. I was so excited. And he was
in everything.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, good for that guy.
Yeah.
But there's like this little moment where they're talking about the garden because this doctor has this amazing garden, made the cover of Country Garden magazine, and he's like, he gave you all the credit. That's Tennyson, the doctor returning, and the grandpa from Lost Boys is like, well, didn't I do all the work? And he's like, he did all the planning. Like, shuts him down. It's like, shut up, you blue-collar slob. Give all the credit to the doctor. Right. We'll come back to that later.
Yes.
Know your place.
Yes.
I hope we don't because we're really running out of time here.
Well, but anyway. Yeah. His garden was in the cover of Fertilizer Weekly also.
Fertilizer Weekly, yeah.
There was a manure.
Timothy McVeigh's favorite publication.
Oh, no, that's dark.
Right. Well, here we go. Okay. So let me do this here. So he gets to the office. He goes in. Bing Crosby is treating a broken arm on a little boy named Billy because, let's face it, every time there's a cute little white boy in a TV movie, his name has to be Billy. Mm-hmm. And he's setting the arm because, of course, like his children, Bing Crosby beat this child actor on set. And so they had him set the arm and they just worked it in. They just worked it into the script. And as it turns out that Jimmy had also had his arm broken because his father beat him.
Yes, that is real.
And well, actually Bing Crosby beat him, and he had to set that arm as well.
And
first of all, the reason why he gets the phone call in the beginning is because Blythe Danner's father, Janie's father, is real sick in bed. And so he comes over and he's going to take care of the father. Mm-hmm. And the father knows what's going on because he's like in terror. Yeah. His eyes are wide open. Well, the father, the next morning, it turns out the father dies.
Did you realize that, George?
I kind of, no. I get it now. I didn't know what I was. My note was
no. That man was terrified because he knew what Bing Crosby was doing.
That'll make sense because my note was this guy is as sweaty as the dude in the elevator.
Right.
Because he was.
Then his daughter shows up the next morning at work as the receptionist. So I guess I don't know. Maybe they weren't that close.
That's the part, I don't know. That's why I thought it was just a random dude who's dispatching. I didn't realize it was her dad.
No, I thought it was her father. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I have to rewatch it. But I thought. That it was her father.
Spoilers, everybody. Basically, Dr. Cooke has been acting as a cultivator for this town, using the garden metaphor. There's all these heavy-handed references to, like, it's funny how when people get sick, the good ones always recover, and the bad ones move on to their eternal reward and stuff. Basically,
he
weeds them out, yeah.
He's weeding out.
And Tim made a reference to this. He has on his garden little notes he leaves for his gardener. And one of the notes is R, and R means remove.
Remove.
And when
which he also would. Oh, go ahead.
Well, when the thick fuck doctor is going through his notes, he's like, "What do all these R's mean?" And he's like, "It means rest, asshole." But it turns out it really does mean remove because he's been fucking weeding.
Basically, Jimmy is the one who's suspicious of everything.
Yeah, he comes in immediately. That guy comes in with the chip on his shoulder. That guy's like, "I'm going to sniff around and destroy my father figure."
Yeah. Take his job.
So he makes he does say he wants to work there, and the doctor's like, fuck no, go to the big city, you asshole. But he sniffs around. He basically figures out this dude's been murdering all these people, including, man, it was pretty fucking obvious to me at this point that he had killed Jimmy's dad back in the day. Yeah. That's revealed as a big bit later. I'm like, oh, wait, you didn't know that? That's like so obvious that he did that. Mm-hmm. So Jimmy confronts Bing Crosby. And he's like, look, I know you're a famous singer. I know you apparently beat your kids. I know that you have some
I
weird.
love White Christmas. Watch it every holiday season. But
I love that duet you did with David Bowie. Actually, Little Drummer Boy. That's pretty boss.
Little Drummer Boy, great. Play it by the fire while we're opening presents every year, Doctor.
Yeah. But I know you've been killing everybody because you got all these poisons. And because I love you. And he looks at him. He's like, I love you. Because he's a good actor. He's like, I'm going to ask you to retire and I'll take over. And the doctor's like, okay, let's go have a picnic.
I know. Let me make your sandwich.
I have a sandwich. Did you guys catch what the fucking sandwich was that the thick doctor ate?
Yeah, it was like
bologna.
Butter and turkey, right? Butter and ham?
It was fucking. They did two sandwiches. He's like, want to go halves and halves, Doc? And Doc is eating a bologna sandwich. And the sandwich that he remembered from childhood that the young doctor likes, it's fucking ham with butter, no mustard.
Yeah, no mustard.
Butter. You're okay with this?
Are you really shocked?
I'm sorry. We're going to let this slide? These fucking sandwiches with butter on it? Fuck this. If that guy did die, if he had been poisoned, and spoilers, he does get fucking poisoned because he's an idiot. Like, obviously this guy's going to poison you. He was going to die anyway because he was eating fucking butter on a ham sandwich. Are you kidding? Ham is already like the fattiest meat, and then you're going to put butter on it?
Oh, I see. You're upset about the health.
No, I'm upset about everything. That's gross to eat butter on ham.
The white breadness of it.
This is terrible. I hate everything now. All right, go on.
Well, butter on a ham sandwiches is how Hitler poisoned his family before the army got there.
Jesus, pumpkin pie, Christ!
All right, we got a stage intervention here.
Let's go.
You know, Tim. Somewhere out there, we have like a listener who's like listening to this with their Holocaust surviving grandparent, and they're screaming right now.
Let's go.
All right.
That's my new.
Okay, so basically, the movie ends with. He gives him the antidote only because he tells him, is there some deep, dark secret you have that I can hold against you, basically? And he says, I stole drugs. But it turns out he made it up. So Bing Crosby gives him the antidote, and he goes and he dials Elias, who is not only the gardener, but also the town constable.
And isn't he also the coroner?
No, Bing Crosby's the medical examiner.
Oh, you're right. Okay, yeah. Right.
So he would do all the autopsies for. So you got the cop is the gardener. Basically the coroner is the doctor. So like they're never going to get caught, or he's never going to get caught. And basically, Bing Crosby catches him on the phone. First, he tries to hit him with a what? What did he have? Was it
It was a bologna sandwich.
It was a bologna sandwich, exactly. He tries to kill him with a bologna sandwich
you fuck.
With mustard, and he almost beats him with that.
And then Jimmy picks up that statue of Hitler and tries to hit Bing.
Tim!
Right, and then they go out on.
They go outside.
Then the fight continues on the lawn. Bing Crosby picks up a hoe, tries to hit him with it because he's still kind of weak from the poison, even though he's gotten the antidote.
Yeah, it's like.
And long story short, all of a sudden, basically, Bing Crosby has a heart attack.
Yeah,
Jimmy runs in to get the digitalis. He can't open the bottle. Those child-proof bottles are really tough. He can't get it open.
Yes.
So basically, Bing Crosby dies. Which is funny. That's how Bing Crosby died on a golf course in Spain from a heart attack.
True.
Yeah, that's what happened.
6 years later.
But you're missing the little
Tim, we're not missing anything.
No.
We're not missing anything.
It was a good action sequence.
We're not missing anything.
I'm being serious.
It's not yet. There's nothing else to talk about.
You're missing. He said, "I'm doing to you what I need to do to Bing," and Bing said, "See how easy it is," and he dies.
Oh yeah. In other words, you're no different than I am.
Yeah.
And I do think that going forward, he becomes the new doctor of town. He just starts fucking murdering everybody, starting with Blythe Danner. Blythe Danner.
Don't get ahead of yourself, George, and don't steal my ideas again this week.
That could be somebody's revenge movie, George.
Right. So that was the end, really. Yep. Did we miss anything?
No, man, we missed everything.
We did.
That was our worst job ever.
There was so much Hitler talk. I was like, let's just end this now.
Yeah.
Get me to an underground bunker so I can shoot myself in the head is what I wanted to say.
I did want to ask. He's basically a serial killer in this movie. Yeah. You know, serial killers usually have some sort of cool nickname. I was wondering what his would be.
The Binger. Bing
bologna sandwich.
How about the gardener?
The gardener. Hey, that's right.
Yeah. Or the
I thought of that.
How about the weeder?
The Weed Killer.
Weed Killer. That's good. The Weed Whacker is also good.
That or the Danny Kaye Killer. I'm not sure.
All right, here we go.
All right, let's move on to the revenge part.
Let's go.
All right.
That's my new catchphrase.
Right,
let's go.
Good. Yeah, it's going. Yeah, it's a good catchphrase too.
Here's my big note.
All right, let's do it.
Dr. Cooke is a well-known poisoner, and Jim is eating his fucking sandwich. All right.
Jim is stupid. Jim is very stupid. Let's go.
Do you know what Bing's last words were before he died of a heart attack?
4?
No, he was done playing golf. He said, "Great game, fellas. Let's have a Pepsi." That's true. George is shaking his head. That's no joke.
No, you just make all these Pepsi references too. You're just weird.
It's the first Pepsi reference.
It's not. No, you've mentioned Pepsi.
There's no joke.
I know it's no joke. I don't know what it is.
Bing didn't yell Hitler, and he died of a heart attack.
Did Hitler prefer Pepsi or Coke?
He was a Fanta guy, is my understanding.
Yes,
Royal Crown Cola.
And Speed. It's gonna be, what are we calling this? Revenge time?
Yeah,
Let's talk about revenge.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Play the revenge song.
Let's talk about revenge, baby. All right.
Wait, were you
Let's talk about you and me.
Oh my God, I thought you were singing that. That's hilarious.
Wherever you are, wherever you're hiding, I'll find you. I'll get you.
Revenge. Revenge.
Revenge. One of us will die. One of us will die.
I will not let Cindy take my place. I will have my revenge.
Can do it. All right.
What was that? What was the wild card question that we picked on the spot to talk about what happens to a character in this movie?
Because we would have a reality show. Is that the question?
A spin-off reality show.
Who would have a reality show in the sequel to this movie? Who's going first? Who has nothing? Steal my idea, George. Steal it again.
I'll go first. I'm going to say Blythe Danner does. And it's a show that she does called Raising Gwyneth. And because she's a young woman, I imagine Gwyneth Paltrow was 71 this movie was. I figure she's probably 72. She's probably alive at that point, right? So it's like her.
Maybe.
Yeah.
What year was Gwyneth born? I don't know.
It's her and Gwyneth Paltrow. And it's like weird because Blythe Danner, I've never seen a mother and daughter look more alike. Like, she looks just so much like Gwyneth Paltrow. Yep, and that's it.
Gwyneth Paltrow was born in 1972.
This is the year. Wait. Do we?
So maybe she was in this movie.
Maybe she was in this movie. Maybe she was a maybe she was a fetus.
Mm-hmm. Do we?
Maybe she was conceived.
Do we think that her dad is the thick as fuck doctor?
No.
I don't recognize you. It's been 5 years. Let me put a baby in you.
Is Gwyneth the goop person?
Yes.
Okay.
She's also. Yeah, she's
among other things.
Yeah, she was in Royal Tenenbaums.
She knows which is actually a good movie.
I love that movie.
You know his movies, Mr. I do know his name. Come on, George, help me out.
Mr. Tennyson?
No, Anderson. Wes Anderson.
Oh, yeah, the director.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the same with you? I can remember the plot to Mr. Fox.
Uh-huh.
And Life Aquatic, but any other movie of his, I'm like, I remember seeing that. I have no idea what it was about.
I can remember most of the plots. I can remember.
I can't remember any plot.
Royal Tenenbaums, Bottle Rocket.
Don't remember the plot.
The one with Jonathan Schwartzman
in the hotel.
Was that Rushmore?
Yeah, Rushmore. Yeah, I think I remember most of those movies. You actually made
hotel.
reference to Moonrise Kingdom, Moonrise Kingdom.
I don't remember the plot.
Tim.
Mr. Fox and Life Aquatic. I could keep them in my head, but the rest is just like, it's weird with those movies. They erase your mind.
That's weird. All right, do your spinoff.
Who would have a reality show?
Yeah.
Well, my spinoff be a reality show about the guy the gardener.
Yeah.
Ellis.
He was like
Elias, actually.
Elias.
Sorry to be that guy.
You were right. He wore those big overalls. He's always like, "Good to see you." I don't know. He had a funny accent that I can't place.
Yeah, do it. All right.
He was like the Pepperidge Farm guy.
Yeah,
Pepperidge
but
Farm,
underneath those big overalls, he was built like a rock. He was.
I think he was a satyr.
What's the phrase? He was
solid as a rock.
You know, he was carved out of ivory.
Jeez. Oh.
And there's a reality show where he people compete to be the next the Chippendale, and he tries to get on that show.
Okay.
It's a reality show. Who will be the next Chippendale? And they do their whole thing. They get picked.
Why Elias?
He's in the top 3.
All right.
But when they're checking out that's when you check out people's bodies. Episode 3. He's got the little shorts on, and they see that he's got a little tattoo of Hitler's face. He loses. I quit.
Okay, that's it. Shut him down. Shut him down.
No,
okay, John.
What's this whole section out? Just sucks.
Okay, well, my reality spinoff show is about a character we didn't mention. It was Essie. Essie was the other woman that he met who he didn't remember only after 5 years.
Yeah, because she's a clod.
And basically, the backstory to Essie is, and we never see her mother on camera. She's just referred to.
Yeah.
Her mother is basically a demanding shrew. And whenever they're out somewhere, the mother calls and they have to come right home. And sure enough, when they're at the party at the doctor's house, the mother calls and she has to go home. And at the party, she doesn't have anything to eat. She's just drinking and she's drunk. Basically, long story short, Dr. Cooke says, oh, you know what? She's been calling me and I'm really worried about her. Never mind, he hadn't seen her in a year since her last physical. Basically, he kills the mother.
Okay.
So basically, Essie's reality show is called Burying Mama.
Nice.
And being the control freak that Mama was, everything in her will was spelled out to the letter, like what she could throw out, what she couldn't throw out. So basically the cameras follow her around the house as she goes through her mother's belongings. And she's like, oh, candlestick. Mother ordered that I not throw these away. I'm going to throw them away. And she just goes through and she totally disregards her mother's will and gets rid of all her belongings and puts them in a dumpster and they get hauled away.
So online people are tweeting that they hate her and everything while the show's going on?
Exactly.
Okay.
That almost sounds like The Revenge.
Well, is that it? Is that the end?
That's the end, yeah.
Oh. I thought something else.
And then Hitler shows up to the dumpster.
You got to work it in.
We got to
clean up the house.
Guys, we got to stop.
Finds a big flag.
Sometimes George is just better just to go along with it.
You got to get this out of his
Let him get it out of the system. Tim, you have at the most one more week to get this out of your system.
Okay.
And if not,
it'll be
City Bimco 2, The Revenge, may only be a 3-episode podcast.
What's happening?
Like in the SmackDown, you're getting scolded. All right, revenge. I want to do revenge. Revenge.
You do the first revenge then.
Here's my fucking revenge. I'm telling you, my fucking revenge. Elias, the gardener. I mentioned the scene up front, but I think you should cut it out when I mentioned it before, because when the doctor arrives, he's chatting amicably with Elias, the gardener / constabulary guy, wearing overalls. They're talking about the doctor's garden, the titular garden. Mm-hmm. And Elias is very proud because he is the gardener of the garden. He's like, you see, we made the cover, a country garden magazine. And the fucking elitist snob that is this fucking visiting doctor, he's like, he's being very patronizing. And he gave you all the credit. And very proud of himself. Elias is like, well, didn't I do all the work? Like, this is what he lives for. Mm-hmm. There's no crime in this fucking town because the doctor kills all the criminals. This is what he does. This is the only thing he has to live for. And the fucking doctor looks at him, fixes him with a snotty glare, and is like, yeah, but he did all the planning. Meaning, kind of like, planning is all that matters. You're just a fucking tool. He's
You're
like,
just
might as well.
Grunt.
He's like, see this fucking hoe? Later on, the doctors are going to try to kill me with this hoe, but you have as much use as that. You're just an applied force. It's all the doctor. And
that's all the doctor.
That's always rankled Elias. That just... It ferments him. The whole movie, you don't see. There's scenes that just happen in between where he's choking on his own impotent rage. The only thing that mattered to him was his gardening, and it's been taken away, dismissed. He brings love to this. He sometimes he ignores those little tags because he knows what's best for the garden. Sometimes plants grow the way they will. And this doctor's like, he does all the planning. And then one day he comes there and he sees his beloved doctor friend laying dead on the front yard. There's grass stains over him. They were playing tackle football or something.
Right.
He becomes obsessed with killing Tennyson. But he also knows revenge is a dish best served cold. He's the local constabulary. He's not going to do it right away. He waits. He moves. He goes to Santa Monica, has a family, gives birth to Diane Wiest. She gives birth to Corey Haim. He gets involved in this whole weird shit with vampires. The whole town's over with vampires. He fucking kills them all. Then, one day, when Tennyson, that thick fuck, is dying alone in a bed, you know who comes in? Elias. And he's got a bucket. And in this bucket, yeah, it's a pile of shit, all right.
With red metallic spray paint?
You know it! And he upends that on Elias's face. No, wait, no, he is Elias. He just did. That'd be
Tennyson.
Yeah.
Tennyson.
And Tennyson's laying there, and Tennyson's confused because Tennyson thought he was coming over for a picnic. Tennyson actually, in his confusion, starts eating initially because he'll eat anything when you say it's on a picnic, even obviously poisoned sandwiches or fucking fecal matter. And he chokes to death on Elias's shit. And that,
he says,
what does he say, Tim?
He says, there's not enough butter. More butter.
Yes! All right, that's my, I'm done. All right, say what you will, gentlemen.
Oh.
Wow, that hurt. I'm actually in pain from that one.
That was good. That was good.
It's good fun.
That was good.
Oh, no.
Anyway.
What is Tim's going to be?
I'm laughing at my own jokes about yours, but I'm not going to. I didn't talk over you.
I wonder how many times you could have worked Hitler into there. Tim.
That's what it was.
You fucking dolt.
I was going to say, Tennyson the doctor, right before Dr. Cooke died.
Sometimes the funniest jokes are the jokes left unsaid.
He heard him shout out Hitler.
Maybe John should go first.
Want me to do mine? Or you want John to go?
Yeah,
go ahead, Tim. You go ahead and do yours.
My revenge movie is called Dr. Cooke's Garden, The Revenge, or as it's known in Jonestown, Amateur Hour. Dark.
Ugh.
Dark. So, I think all the people in that town were playing it a little bit dumb, and they all knew what Dr. Cooke was doing. It seemed like they were... that's what it seemed like to me. And they were happy to have him kill the bad people off, even though he could kill their mother or father. But they were okay with it. So they were really mad that Tennyson had killed him. And they were going to get the revenge on him and kill him. But he hotwired a car. He got out of town.
Tennyson hotwires a car.
Yes,
nice.
I know. Hard to believe. Okay, he stole some keys.
I know. I like him hotwiring a car. That's cool.
He knocked over an old lady, took her keys, got in her car.
Did her hip break.
Yeah. He's like, good.
Take that, you old bag.
I got a head start on you. You got a broken hip. You'll never catch me. Anyway. So, but he runs out of gas in a nearby town. And he's asking people, can I use the phone? I got to call the police. But everyone in this town, including the children, are gathering stones and putting them in a little pile in the center of town. And they're drawing pieces of paper like it's a kind of lottery.
I read this book.
He picks a piece of paper with the black mark, and they try to kill him. But he steals another car and he gets out of town. And he heads north to try to get the police, and he crash lands in a snowbank. And a nice lady, Annie, takes him home. She's a big fan of his medical journals. And she ties him to a bed, gives him a typewriter so he can write more medical journals that she likes to read. But lucky for Jimmy, Annie went out to see the new movie called The Godfather, and Annie was so taken with it, she headed to California to convince Francis Ford Coppola to make at least 5 more of those. So Jimmy escaped. Jimmy escaped. And the people from that town were still after him. So in order to get away, he joined this church called the People's Temple as they were going to go down to Guyana. And he thought he could get away, get out of the country. But he got suspicious in Guyana. He thought that there might be poison in the Kool-Aid. And they chased him into the woods. And he ran off into the woods, and he was eaten by lions.
Are there lions in South America? I don't think so.
My question, yeah.
Well,
a
okay.
puma or cougar?
Jaguars.
He didn't get eaten by the lions there. He got all the way back to America, and he went and visited the zoo, and he accidentally fell in the lion enclosure.
My head is swimming right now.
But he got out of the lion enclosure alive, but he had fallen in love with lions, and he bought illegal lion cubs and raised them in his house as his own until one day he didn't get eaten. They escaped, and the rangers came around and rounded them up and put them on a preserve where they belong.
I don't think this is going to end.
So that's not when he was eaten by lions. No. He went to Africa on a safari.
But he wasn't eating there either, right? Of course.
He stupidly got out of a Jeep, forgot he was wearing his meat-scented aftershave. And the lions did not get him there. He got on a plane to go home, actually, with from Africa, and the plane crashed in the Himalayas, and everyone was starving in the snow, had nothing to eat, waiting for rescue, and that's when the cannibalism started.
Oh!
And who was on that flight? The Detroit Lions football team, and they ate Jimmy because they wanted to get revenge on him because he was always making fun of them for never getting into a Super Bowl. So he even shouted his safe word, Bob Hope, but they wouldn't stop eating him. So he was eaten by the Lions, the Detroit Lions. True story.
True story.
And what was this called again, Tim?
Called Dr. Cooke's Garden: The Revenge.
Yeah, had a lot to do with Dr. Cooke's Garden. Yeah. Good title, yeah.
A couple of things about wouldn't his aftershave not only have been meat scented, but it would have been ham and butter scented. And fun fact about Jonestown, they couldn't afford Kool-Aid, so it was
Flavor Aid.
What are they? Fun Aid.
Fun Aid, that's it.
Like Goofy Grape and all that.
Yeah, couldn't afford Kool-Aid. Fun fact. That is
fun fact. George is livid now.
I do enjoy you got in the last podcast and last reference there. Maybe we'll get some of their listeners. They'll be like, wait.
Yeah.
All right, John, what's your revenge?
John.
Okay, my revenge movie is called Revenge in Dr. Cooke's Garden.
Nice.
And we didn't discuss Dora, the housekeeper, who prepared the picnic lunch that Dr. Cooke poisoned and Jimmy ate. So after Dr. Cooke dies, Elias, Janie, and Jimmy, as Tim said, everybody in the town knew what was going on. They're like, well, how do we cover up this death? So they basically, since she prepared the picnic lunch, they framed Dora with poisoning the doctor. And she goes off to prison where she dies a miserable, lonely death.
Oh, sad.
What?
And then it turns out that Billy, the boy who was getting his arm set in the beginning, was actually her grandson. So he comes back. He goes off to Burlington, Vermont, that, fast-paced, famously urban blighted city in Vermont.
Coke factory.
Yes. And, Elias as constable bragged that, no bad people came into the town while he was on the beat, i.e. he only let white people in. They did let an Italian family did try to move there once in the 60s, but they just drove him out of town. So basically, Billy comes back with a gang of Italians because he can't find any black people in Burlington or Latinos or anything like that. And he's going to get revenge on his grandmother. So basically, Elias shows up on the outskirts of town and says, as long as I'm constable, nobody's ever going to, and bam, they shoot him dead. Just like, because of course he doesn't have a gun. He doesn't need a gun, so they just shoot him dead.
Was he wearing his waders?
He was wearing his waders. Yes.
All right. Did he?
He was getting compost for Dr. Cooke's Garden because he still keeps it up.
Nice.
And then Janie, the reason why she was running late for the picnic was, of course, being Gwyneth Paltrow's mother. She was having a vaginal cleanse that day. So that's why she was running late for the picnic. So what they did was they poisoned her set of designer douches.
Wow.
And that's what did her in. And then that's what kills her. She's poisoned. Death by douche, you call that. And then to kill Jimmy, they take a bunch of ham sandwiches with butter and just shove them down his throat, which is also known as Cass Ellioting somebody. Oh. And if that reference is too obscure to anyone out there in podcast land, Cass Elliot, a.k.a. Mama Cass Elliot, the rumor was that she had choked on a ham sandwich, and that's why she died in the apartment in London. But what they think happened was that somebody in one of the police photos, she died of congestive heart failure. Yeah. But in one of the police photos on the nightstand was a partially eaten ham sandwich, and that's how that's how the myth about choking on the ham sandwich. It was also the same apartment. It was also the same apartment that Keith Moon would die in 4 years later from The Who.
That's a pretty cool.
So basically, so Billy exacts revenge by those three methods of death.
Wow! And what was it called again?
Revenge in Dr. Cooke's Garden.
I like it.
Thank you. I like the death by douche or the Cass Elliot treatment. I'm not sure which one I like better.
All right, Tim, what happens now?
I'm keeping my mouth. You told me not to think about an elephant.
I have.
What room did Keith Moon? Was that a hotel room? Keith
Moon? No, it was 9 Curzon Place, flat 12.
Oh, that's where Hitler stayed. Yeah, that makes sense now.
From now on, we will refer to him.
I'm done with it.
As Mr. Ava Braun. Okay, that's how we're going to refer to him from now on.
I'm done with it. No.
That's the last one. Tim, you got it all in your system?
Yeah, George, you picking a movie next week, aren't you?
I am. I also have, Tim, I have a bit of fan mail.
Just you personally?
Ooh. Well, it was fan mail delivered to me in the form of a text from a listener. May I read it?
Sure.
So, as of the time we're recording this, the most recent episode, I guess a new one has aired. This was written in response to the Masters of the Universe episode we did.
Are you sure?
Yes. It says right here. I received this from my cousin Matt, who is a listener. Hi, Matt.
Oh,
Matt wrote, I was just driving a few minutes ago, period, and finished the Masters of the Universe SETI BIMCO podcast, period. When Tim reads his explanation for Lubick's wife's podcast, I nearly jerked the wheel to end my life, period. Well done.
What?
Yep. And then he wrote, Lubick was also the principal of Back to the Future, and he said those jokes were suicide-inducing. Off to have a trigger warning. That's the fan mail.
That's the fan mail.
Yes.
Well, geez, now that we actually have a listener, I might have to step up my game.
Yeah.
So I take that as one compliment and one non-compliment.
I think Tim, I think
the jokes, but jokes were suicide-inducing.
Yeah, I think you really nailed the premise of the show. This was the old show, of course. This is before the revenge part. But I think it shows you really seized the day and you really choked the shit out of that episode. You did good, man.
I choked it out?
Yep, you choked it out. So, speaking of choking things out, it's my turn to choose the movie. And the movie I'm choosing, listeners, if you want to watch along with us, it is available on Tubi. It is a free film called, one word, Snow Beast from 1977. The date should give you a hint that it's probably some sort of Jaws knockoff. And the name Snow Beast should tell you there's probably a Yeti involved.
Ooh,
it looks like garbage. I can't wait. TV movie. I think it's a full hour and a half, so it's going to be
true
good.
Story.
True story, definitely, because everybody remembers in 1977 when the world learned that yes, Yetis are real and they kill people.
No, true story.
Yep.
Somewhere in the late 70s, I finally read a adult book. I'm like, oh, I like this.
An adult book, huh?
The Hobbit. You read something besides kids' books. Okay. You're like, oh, I like reading this novel. It's cool. And I was like, I'm an adult now, and I had some money at the bookstore, and there was a book called either Snow Beast or Snowman, I was like, I'm going to buy this, a horror novel. I didn't know anything about Who to Buy or Stephen King. And it was about a Yeti. It was incredibly boring. I read the whole thing. And in the middle of the book, there's a very descriptive sex scene. And I just went back. I was like, oh, I'll just read these pages again.
Was it a sex scene with the...
That was the only part of that book I remember. This was the best part of the book.
At that age, it's either that or the National Geographic, I guess. I don't know.
Today's kids, they just hop in Google and they type in munch porn and they find it.
Yep.
We had to work for
it. So they tell me.
So
we did.
Yep.
So that was the end. That's Snow Beast, and it's 1977. Yep. Sounds great.
One word or two, because there's a 2-word Snow Beast from like 88. That's why I'm specifying it. So 77 Snow Beast, 1 word, 2B.
I did check our mail. We got no mail, but that's great. You got mail.
Yep.
Thanks for writing, Matt.
Thanks, cousin Matt.
Matt, yeah. And again, now that we have a listener, I'm going to have to step up my game, because I just thought like George was listening. As a matter of fact, a couple of weeks I was like, why do we even bother record? I'll just give George a call and tell him everything that I was going to say. But now we actually have well, let's hope we still have a listener at this point, because Matt didn't sound like a rousing endorsement for the podcast, but who knows?
Matt really hates.
Does Matt dislike Hitler?
Matt does. He hates when people make casual jokes about Hitler.
All right. Well, wait. If you want to write the show, SetiBimCo with an E at gmail.com. We're on Instagram.
Or text me, folks.
Or text George.
Yeah, we don't need to get no fucking emails.
Instagram.
Tim's not going to read them anyway.
Area code. No, we won't do that.
You can listen to us anywhere. Give us some 5 stars. George can plug his show as long as he'll plug my show on his show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Listen to my other podcast, Hypothetical Island, where me and my outrageous co-host Riley Brown spin hypothetical island scenarios and have on different comics and toy-related guests of note to interview them and whatnot.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody.
All right, kids.
Thanks for listening. And is that it? You picked your movie?
Yeah.
And, okay.
Yeah,
goodbye.
we're good. Let's go.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
This has been a Pity Party Line production.
Party line. It's a party line.
There we go.
All right, let's see here. I'm at 99.
I'm going to hang up now.
Stop.
I'm at 99. Hang up now.
You gotta wait till I stop.
What happened?
To wait till I stop.
I can do it now.
Unless you want to record 10 minutes of talking about White Christmas.
Nope.
No? Nobody's up for that? Oh.
No.